Hello there, world of tankers! Welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Droodles Blitz, and in today's video I'll be playing in the American Tier 10 Collector Tank Destroyer, the XM66F, a vehicle that I consider to be by far one of the most overpowered in Tier 10. There are quite a few vehicles which I consider to be in that overpowered category. And, a lot of people always ask me, why do I consider so many tanks to be overpowered in Tier 10? And the simple reasoning is because a lot of the vehicles are way too strong in the current meta. I think the whole meta in general is too strong, and I think most people would agree. Even tanks that are considered pretty average are still way stronger than they should be compared to 3 years ago. And because of that, it's why we're getting turbo battles and games that are utterly unwinnable, because you just don't make a big enough impact when every single tank has 8 billion DPM. But let's see what we can do in the XM. This tier 10 tank destroyer is quite an insane one. Jesus is number one on our team. I can't wait for this guy to walk on water, bro. Either way, this tank has crazy capabilities. It's got 40 kilometer per hour top speed. It has a reverse speed of 20. And it features a reverse track mechanic, so even if you get tracked, you can still reverse at 7 kilometers per hour. The vehicle has 10 degrees of gun depression, making it flexible, 3,400 DPM with calibrated shells, also great levels of penetration. Its accuracy is It's not bad, but it's also not good. However, if you compare this gun to a Badger's, it is so much better, so I can't really hate on the tank that much. But you can see that it does have a somewhat long aiming time, so that is something you'll have to keep in mind while using the vehicle. Now we have the... We had an E5. I don't know why you drive an E5 there to begin with, so that's 100% his fault. We have the Conqueror over here. This is not good. While the enemy team may have lost an E5, so if I'm not moving up. You can do what you want there, 113. I am not moving up. I am no fool. I know exactly what happens if I decide to move up. Okay, well, we have the Kron over here. Aiming. Wow. These enemy players are really stupid, bro. I mean, my team isn't much better, but holy, why are we poking? Oh, man, that shell did not go anywhere where I wanted it to. Why are we poking, like, tanks that we obviously shouldn't be? Just gonna load high explosive. 0 damage. Breh. The Kron is still just such a cringe tank to fight on a ridgeline. It doesn't matter how good you are at the game, you just can't do anything to a Kron. I mean, as I said, this gun isn't the best either on its on-move dispersion, which can be a bit of a problem. But we're going to see what we can do here. I'm going to go... Oh, the conk's right here. Let's aim it on the side. There you go. Nice 446. Once we can start getting out the DPM on this tank, I think we're going to be really, really strong. But we need to be in that situation. And this is exactly that spot we're talking about here, right? We got a Conqueror in front of us. We're completely hauled down, so this Conk really can't do anything. And with 3,400 DPM and that vehicle's really bad reverse speed, I mean, this guy's just cooked, bro. Like, absolutely cooked. There you go. Easy shell into the enemy. And the best thing about this tank is it actually has a turret, which means you can work this thing on a ridgeline, and you don't have to worry about being, penned or flanked easily, where the Badger, for example, has that awful level of armor that allows you to get flanked everywhere. So we have the Kron in front of us, and he's dead. We have 2 tanks left. We've got a 1-2-1 and a Yag Tiger. We've done okay this game. I'm not going to say we've farmed, but we've definitely been given a favorable situation, and we've already dealt over 3,500 damage. It's just such a good example of why I consider the XM to be so darn OP. And you'll notice it's fast. Like, again, we're chilling at 40 kph right now in a vehicle that really shouldn't be going 40 kilometers per hour. The only thing that I don't really like about the XM is the fact that its gun can be derpy. It takes a little bit of time to aim in, and it's definitely a bit lackluster in that regard. That's really the best way to describe it. However, it still has everything else going for it, so it's just not that big of a deal. We got the 1-2-1, nice 436, and the Jagdpanzer gets the clear. And there you go. That is a 4,200 damage game. Put in 0 effort. The enemy team definitely could have done pretty good there if they used their brain cells, but they didn't. That 113 poking the Jagdpanzer, I don't even know why. Like, you should always predict on the OG Malinovka that there's going to be tank destroyers camping in the back. And if you overpoke that corner, you should be fully expecting the enemy team to just nuke. I don't know why the E5 on their team went low either. I mean, even without that player being Amarak, they put themselves in just a factually bad spot. That spot has no gun depression, and you're in a tank that has gun depression. Again, like, there's common sense, and then there's bad plays. Common sense dictates that if you don't know where the enemy tank destroyers are, you assume that they are going to be in a spot when you poke. That's usually how I play the game. Because there's so many times when you make a very, very slight poke, which isn't even aggressive, and a random tank destroyer is just sitting there to punish you. So general rule of thumb, if the enemy tank destroyers have not been spotted, you assume that they are always going to be right where you're poking. So make sure when you poke, you do it safe, you do it careful, and you don't just blindly drive around a corner and expect all things to go well. That 113, though, I don't even know what that player was doing. Showed their track wheel and just died. All right, well, here we are. This is a really good map for the XM66F. Mines is obviously a haul down map, and the enemy team has 2 Vickers lights, which aren't a threat at all. What's up with the Vickers lights today, bruh? I'm not going to complain. The Badger is the biggest threat. I mean, anything that has armor and DPM is going to be a counter to me. But we have a turret, the Badger doesn't. We have better reverse speed. We have better armor, I would honestly say. So we'll see. What we can do here. We're going 30. We do have the grill covering me, but 2 of our heavies are going over towards the other flank. There's the Vickers, which we do get a nice shell into. Yeah, that Vickers killed himself already. Wow. That's why you don't cross. That's a hated player. It's a decent player, probably 60+ percenter. Doesn't matter how good you are at the game. It's luck. It is simply luck whether you're going to get across that alive or not. And I'm not willing to risk those odds. And that player was. All right, well, we got a nice shell into the Jagdpanzer. We're going to overpoke. We're aiming on the lower plate of the Badger. There you go. Nice. Badger bounces me again. And because we have less alpha and we have still really good DPM, we get an easy shell into the enemy Badger. Reloading again, and 3, 2, 1, boom. Another 470 damage shot. You can start to see that armor on the XM kind of just pop off, and yeah, that player's already out of the game. Wow, we've kind of obliterated the enemy, haven't we? Well, we got the Yag over here. The Yag does pen me for 600, goes through my gun mantlet. That is a weak spot in this vehicle that you're going to have to be cautious about. The gun mantlet is the biggest weak point. Actually, this tank has to be real, but already we've out-traded that Yag. We got shot for 600, we shot the Yag back for 700 with our heat shells, and now we're going to aim it on the Yag again. There you go, easy shot, the Yag misses, the Yag's already out of the game, and we are over 3,000 damage. We can aim it on the 50B side, boom, a 496 high explosive, it's a pretty juicer shot. Let's reload again, and let's see if the 50B, oh, we got the Super Conch right over here. Not really sure what the game plan is from the Super Conch, but I'm just going to overpoke, there you go, nice shot. Let's back up from the 50B. That 20 reverse is really what makes this tank so dumb, because you can just get out of problems. Like, there's not a lot of tanks I can name that can just back their problems away. This is one of them. Now, we obviously have only 4 tanks left on the enemy team, and because of that, I'm just going to get right to the side of the 50B. There you go, a nice 492 high explosive again into his vehicle. And we reload, we put on our adrenaline, we aim it on the 50B again, 359. We're already up to 5,000 damage at this point. That player's dead, and we have the Badger. That player's dead. Yeah, I mean, this tank's just overpowered. You can see why. I mean, what do you do to counter this thing on a ridgeline? You can't pen it. And even if you do pen it, it doesn't matter. You're going to load gold. This tank's going to outtrade you, and it's going to win every time. Like, this thing's just stupid. I'm not sure why the 2 and 5 he's looking over there. Very clearly the Vickers had crossed, but interesting maneuver from that player. All right, let's get a nice shell into the Vickers. There you go, 360. And what are we going to do, huh? What are we going to do? Well, I can say what I'm going to do, and that is... Oh, I fat-fingered. There you go. Nice 430. I don't want the Vickers to be able to get to my side. That's obviously not that... Oh. I was going to say I don't want him to get to my side because our team's going to kill him, but oh well. Victory. And a pretty easy victory. Let's take a look at the end game results here. We did 6,000 damage, blocked 2,000, and we single-handedly just obliterated that enemy line. That enemy Vickers Light dying was huge. As I said, that's a pretty decent player, and they made a stupid play. You look at the enemy lineup, you see what they have, and sometimes it's not worth it to go up that hill. A lot of the times I play on mines, I instantly decide, even if I'm in an advantage to go to the hill, that I don't know what's going to happen to me, and I'd rather not risk dying to get up that hill. That Vickers Light going up there probably threw their team the game. It wasn't the only reason, but yeah, either way, pretty good battle. The XM66F is truly a beast, and if you want a tank that can kind of do it all, this is definitely a vehicle for you. Oh, either way, hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.